startups right so also I wanted to talk about some of the learnings that I have. So it's a combination of both storytelling and my experiences, what you need to look out for as entrepreneurs who are starting out. So, and my name is Paroma, of course. My full name is Paroma Roy. If you want to look up my credentials, just find me on LinkedIn. Thank you. So, could we share the screen now?
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't really given a brief as to what you want to hear. So this is the best that I can do. And then please ask questions. So of course, you're Durgapreneurs. I love that name. And this is Durga is the best icon for female energy and positive energy to boot. So that's what we'll bring to the table for in this program. So as entrepreneurs, what is the first thing that you need to do? Can we go to the second slide? Yeah. You need to learn to how to tell a good story. Telling a good story, telling a good, authentic, real story is the first step towards being an entrepreneur. When I mean a story, I don't mean a fairy tale or a thriller or anything. It's your story, your own story, your own life journey. What made you decide to be an entrepreneur? That's your story. And you have to learn to tell a good story. What are good stories? Stories that stick in your mind. Stories that you keep coming back to. I can give you a couple of examples. Gandhi is a great story, one of the best stories that India has ever produced. His satyagraha sticks in your mind, right? Mother Teresa, though she's not an Indian, but her story is an Indian one. She's the universal mother who took care of the poor and the destitute, regardless of caste, creed, background, gender, etc. You keep coming back to that story, mother with a great heart. Similarly, I mean, I can tell you many stories like this, big brands. Well, even Elon Musk is a story. Uh, you remember Elon for his incredible innovations as well as sometimes incredibly bad behavior. But he too is a story. So stories are very, very important. You have to know what to tell to make it real, to make it authentic. And please don't try to be somebody else. When I say Gandhi or Elon, it's not for emulating them. Just see what great stories they are because you keep coming back to them. So devise your own story. Once you have the story in your mind, tell it well. Delivery is as important as the content. If there's time, I would like to go back to this point. But while you have a content which you have solid, which you have fashioned into bullets or PowerPoint slides or just a speech, you have to deliver that well. Your tone of voice, your eye contact, your body language, your respect for cultural norms, all of these make for good storytelling. This is something I teach in a class, so I can go on and on about this, but this is really the first step towards being an entrepreneur. I've sat on many pitches, thanks to my long background with the startup ecosystem. And I mean, some people get it right from the first word, the word go. Some people get it wrong, despite all bars and charts and snazzy slides and market data, etc. The story is original, authentic, trying to solve a problem where there's or trying to address a gap. Please ask yourself whether your content looks at all this and closes that gap or tries to solve a problem, and then tell it well. Tell it with authenticity, tell it with sophistication, style, power, and a whole host of other things. Tone of voice should be firm, there should be eye contact, positive body language, respect for culture. You can't do like something that works in one part of India may not sometimes work for other part of India. Sometimes what works in the US does not work in Japan. What works in Japan does not work with Saudi. So please be mindful of the cultural norms. First thing about storytelling, content and delivery. Next slide. You find the right platform. As entrepreneurs, you must be wanting to share your content, have people vet your content to see whether, so you have to be associated with the right platforms or just find the right platform. I mean, there are, of course, very big platforms like a CII or a NASCOM or a whole host of other chambers of commerce, embassies. I don't necessarily mean such big platforms, though these are very helpful to be part of. But when you also find your entrepreneurial groups like this one, where you have the right kind of audience who can see your content or even vet your content. So please find the right platform. Aspire for Her is a great platform for particularly for women entrepreneurs, but find the right platform. It would be very, very helpful. Lots of people ask me, how can I tell the story? Nobody is willing to listen. No media is going to talk to me. So how do I get myself heard? Owned media is a very good way to start. Start writing blog posts. Do a LinkedIn post describing your product or your service or your journey without, of course, giving it all away. You're all adults, you understand that. But you can actually, these days, in the days of social media, you can build your own voice. It could be a Twitter handle. I don't always recommend it because Twitter or X, as it now it's called, is a fairly difficult platform to handle with balance and being intuitive and current and balanced. It's very difficult. But YouTube channels are great. LinkedIn posts are very good. So some people even use Facebook very well. So find your media and it could be a good place to start. Network like mad. Go to conferences, attend large meetings at industry forums, because sideline conversations often yield incredible gems by way of association or representation or a lot of things. So look out for forums where you can go and network. It could be industry events. It could even be purely entrepreneurial startup events. It could be any sort of large meeting where your interests are getting addressed. So a network. Please don't be scared or ashamed or embarrassed. If you don't network, who will on your behalf? I particularly tell this to women. We are notoriously poor at this. Once you have your story fixed, you have to share it. Other people have to hear your story, vet it, ask you questions. If you do not find the right platform, how will you share your story? And finally, which there's the holy grail of all entrepreneurs, if you have access to or build access to angel investors, early stage VCs, when you have the opportunity, that is the most fantastic thing. Your first pitch may not yield funding. I mean, most often they don't. But, a couple of people like Rajan Anandan, who's very, very well known, who's also my ex-boss at Google, he runs search in Sequoia, which is their sort of sub 100 million, sub 50 million category, or even less. 1 to 5 actually used to be Rajan's cohort. Vani Kola, who runs Kalari. So there are a couple of early stage investors who are doing only this. Very many of them. I'm just talking about 2 names. So you might find access to them through the right platforms. Third slide. Thanks. Gather the right set of peers. I'm sure a lot of you already have them. But peers are all important when you want to become an entrepreneur. You learn from each other. You find support when you falter or taste failure. I mean, guaranteed you will taste failure and have a couple of nasty falls. But this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So peers, the right kind of peers can really help you also to remain positive. They can help you refine your product and service. There are many people who tell me that, they are basically a group of college friends or a group of IIT folks who have decided to start an entrepreneurial journey. There it's easier because you already have a peer group. But if you're a lone entrepreneur, which you can be, I meet some women, particularly through CXXO, which is a Kalari Capital initiative focusing on female founders. A lot of them are by themselves. And so for them, it's very important to gather a peer group around them so that you can bounce ideas, you can refine your offerings, even find some leads. Your ex-employer group can be also very useful. We have a group called Zooglers, which is ex-Googlers, which we are all part of. Only people who have worked for Google can be part of that, unfortunately. It's a gold mine of ideas, of leads, of even sometimes job openings. So if you have opportunity to become part of a group like that, please do it. It can really give you peers who will help you along your journey. Next slide. Can't tell you the importance of mentors. If you are an entrepreneur, finding good mentors is a must. It's critical because they are your best sounding boards. They have your interest in mind. And sometimes with peers, we all know that other stuff creeps in, sometimes professional jealousy, rivalry, privacy concerns about data theft. With mentors, it doesn't have that. You don't have that. So they can be your neutral sounding board. So you only have your good in mind. I've always been helped by great mentors throughout my journey. They can point you to right resources, including funding, put you in touch with an angel investor, put you in touch with the right forum. Mentors do that. And very importantly, they can guide you if you need course correction. And some of you will inevitably, because the market has moved on, your industry may have moved on, your product is no longer adequate, or you need to build less on it. Same goes for services. So a mentor can offer you a bird's eye view and can help you course correct if you need to do it. And, people like Vani and Rajan and people like that, Sanjay Bikhchandani of InfoEdge, they can also provide a lot of visibility if you can get to them. Because, of course, these people are too busy to be your mentors. But if your mentors can get access to these people, they can provide you with a lot of visibility at their forums. So don't knock it. So find people who are willing to mentor you, who can give you the time and the advice and right kind of guidance. Most importantly, time. So don't always try to go for big names because they are unlikely to have time. But people who have, people who are a good balance, people who know people in the industry and are busy, have credibility, but also have a little bit of time and inclination, those people are very good to be a mentor. So can't underline its importance more. mentors are probably the most, apart from the story, mentors are the probably most critical part of your entrepreneurial journey. You can't do it alone. Nobody can do it alone. So not even Elon Musk. So next slide. Agility. You all know this. You have to be agile enough to spot gaps in your product and services, new market segments which might emerge, or customers, readiness to course correct, which I already talked about. Agility is very, very important. Being aware, being informed, being ready to act on that information and pivot your business if necessary. A lot of Ritesh Agarwal of OYO has pivoted a couple of times. He focused on the US when the pandemic had struck, and his business was in a very bad way for a couple of years. I work with Ritesh, so I can share this. And but he course corrected. He totally focused on the domestic market for a couple of years, has stabilized himself and the business. And now again, they're looking at going abroad and filling gaps. So this is very important to act on market conditions. Another person I can give you an example is Bhavish Agarwal of Ola. The mobility business is doing well, has tremendous scale, but lacks profitability, right? I mean, it will be a long while before Ola can become profitable. But his electric scooter business is looking very, very good. He did a pivot and put a lot of energy and resources into that business. And they are, I think, now beating Honda, Hero Honda, a hero. I may be wrong there, but they're very close. So these two are very good examples of pivots. How agility allows you to pivot, to change, to course correct. So it's very, very important to be agile, however good you might be in your current state of affairs. And the last slide, but definitely not the least, resilience. Without it, you will not go anywhere. Anywhere. Whether you're a professional or you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you have to have the resilience, whether life deals you with a knock, to get up, dust off, and move on. So you have, resilience is required to reinvent yourself. And a lot of people these days are actually without jobs across levels. The economy is not in a great shape, the job market, despite what newspaper headlines say. So you have to have the resilience to reinvent, to refocus, repurpose, reimagine yourself. And these are even more necessary when you are an entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, and trying to find your way, because you will fail. There'll be a couple of nasty falls, bends in the road, roadblocks, but you have to navigate them and continue your journey. So resilience is the greatest gift that you can give yourself. I'm borrowing it from one of the toughest bosses I've had. And this is a piece of advice I always follow myself, resilience. And I will also think an entrepreneurial life is a hard one. So don't get consumed by it. Get a life. Family, friends, hobbies, interests, travel, whatever floats your boat. Have a life apart from your professional journey or an entrepreneurial journey. You will need that to be resilient, to stick around, and to make contribution over a period of time. So this is like really short. I promised them that I'll take 20 minutes. So this is done. Can we stop sharing the screen? And I would really welcome questions, opinions, comments, anything. Thanks, Misha. I can't, I mean, you haven't been stupefied into silence, are you? Please do ask questions and switch on your video if you can.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Nazia.
Yeah.
You have a very nice profile. I just saw on LinkedIn after you asked me to. I mean, you've been into communications end to end, I believe.
That's pretty much true, yes.
Yes,
Other
that's the
business.
highlight of what you put. That's the highlight of what you put.
Sorry, what?
That's the highlighter I saw on your profile, as in you've been majorly into communication activities from the start.
Yeah, because that's my profession actually.
Okay.
And but I do many aspects of communication. That's a
Okay.
very wide field, right? So
Okay.
I have done internal strategic communication, deal
Uh-huh.
communications, crisis, Marcom,
Okay.
and
Okay.
yeah, and a whole lot of other things, communication for startups,
Okay.
financial communication. So a lot of it, brand.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Not in, as in, I'm just asking a general question because I saw your profile coming in. Do you see a difference in the kind of communication strategy which needs to be used by startups or women entrepreneurs? Because generally, what I have seen is whichever forums I have gone to, and we have a lot of positive women coming and guiding us and talking. They've said one thing that we women know we do not project ourselves well. We are always under projecting us, like we may have 90% of the ability, but we will say no, I don't have the 10, so I do not go, and that shows very strongly in how we talk. Whereas there is a man in the same room who may have just the 10, but he projects very strongly saying I can do the 100 of it. So
Largely,
have a view or a take on it.
it's largely true, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We still sort of step back. We don't grab a chair at the table, metaphorically speaking.
No,
And
as in literally, we do not do that. Even if we may be more
yeah,
capable, we need
you
five
just
men to catch us and put us on the table. Hey, like, look, you're capable.
nobody will do that for you. Nobody
Ah,
will do that for you. Very early in my corporate career,
mhm.
uh, in large boardrooms, the women's first tendency of women is to go and sit in the second row.
I've done that. I've sat in the audience. Then
I
the
have done that
professors pick
too.
me
A
and
lot
they
of
put me on
people
the
do.
table.
A lot of people do that. But thing is that just understand and tell yourself, why am I doing this? And actually a male boss pointed it out to me first. And since then I have never done it consciously. So you have to be conscious that step up, speak up, develop a voice, and I don't say, though being aggressive is not necessarily a bad one, but I say be forceful. You can be forceful, definitive without being aggressive. So if you remember all this, it'll help you. And I'm going back to the storytelling. A very key part of your storytelling is confidence. When we talk about body language, developing confident body language, which means eye contact, firm handshakes, no slouching. I teach all this in my class. So, standing up. So these are very important things to remember, whether you're a man or a woman. So, and for women more in particular, because it does happen. We have great stories, but we don't tell them well. If you
True,
have great stories, how will people know if you don't tell it well?
true, very true. All right, fine. So when we talk of communication, say for us startups, is there something which we need to? Is there a some formula by which we generally should be going ahead?
There is
As
no formula, but in a
all of us have stories. All of
yeah,
us have stories. You know.
all of yeah. So and after this, I mean, I must give opportunity to other people to talk.
Sure, definitely. I'll
Question.
mute myself.
But in a startup, you have to build your own rule book. In a Hindustan Lever or in a Citibank or in a Google, you'll have a playbook that this is handled like this. UK had handled it like this, Germany had handled it like this, so possibly this is the right way to handle. In startups, you have no such luxury. You build your own playbook and you build it fast and you execute fast and also course correct fast. Speed is very important, agility is very important, but that doesn't mean that you will just forge ahead without taking anything into consideration, which some startups tend to do. So we don't have the luxury of putting up setting processes all the time in a startup. But as you grow in scale, you have to keep building those processes or building blocks, but you have to do them faster. So agility is important, but at the same time, focus on building processes going forward.
Noted. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Hello. Hello,
Hi.
Paroma. Hi. This is Baswati on behalf of Kalpana to Dream High. I mean to say, this is a social service group, all
Okay.
led by women and run by women. So I really enjoyed today's presentation, and I learned also how to speak, what is the speed, from your bad body language and all. I really liked it. But I have few generic thing to know. Like all the time people say, like when you are starting with your deck to present somewhere, in 1 to 2 lines people will understand what you are about to say. So can you please clarify for us, for the change makers, to do that?
What is
Okay.
your question? I didn't really get your question.
Yeah, I'm saying, like when you are starting your presentation, when you are speaking
Yeah.
in front of someone, a group of investors or the audience. So within 1 or 2 lines, they will catch you up like what you are about to say. So for change makers in social service group, so how to start with a storytelling or in 1 to 2 minutes?
Develop a good headline. Just
Okay.
just like journalists do.
Okay.
Develop a good headline, a good catchy headline. I mean, for a long time, I used to say I'm a journalist turned communications professional who enjoys reputation building, crisis management, and I think one or two other things I used to say. And I'm also a mother I mean, right now my son is 30. So I always say that, I am a mother with a grown-up son, and I have active interests in politics, and a couple of interests like art and reading. It gives you 2-minute summary of who you are. So if I have a headline, one line needs to be about you, one line needs to be about what you do and what are you about to present. That's a headline. Headlines will maximum can take up to 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes, not more than that.
I understand.
And practice
Really
it.
good.
It's called elevator speech.
Yeah. And one more thing regarding the mentors, as you said, finding a good mentors help you in all sorts. So what I saw in my different careers, like when I was in IT, I found someone in my client side, like they are helping us a lot. When coming back in offshore, we found out someone, our close managers. When I'm in education sector, I found someone. So it is very domain specific, or it's a area. So for social service activities, okay, so how to find a proper mentor who will give you time and guide?
Thing is that, most of my mentors have been drawn from my former bosses, regardless of what they did. These are people you go to for direction, for guidance. So it doesn't necessarily need somebody from that field itself, though it's good if you find that. So there are two kinds of mentors. One are functional mentors, like you're saying, somebody from that field. And then you have to look consciously for experts in that field and make an appeal to them. But general mentoring, which is also very critical, draw upon the pool of people that you know or you've worked with.
Okay. Thank you so much, Parma. Thanks.
I saw a raised hand. So whoever had the raised hand. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Srilata.
Yeah.
I just want to know one thing. How long should generally
Yeah,
a pitch?
Ruko.
Hello? Yeah, there was some disturbance. Sorry. So if I'm doing a pitch for my business, generally how long should that take?
A max of 20 minutes is what I think. But,
Okay.
I mean, depending on what depth are you presenting and what stage of your presentation you're in. Say somebody's raised seed funding. You
Mm.
need to talk a lot more because that person does not know anything about you. I
Mm.
mean, I'm assuming you'll send a pre-read and everything, but the trick is the younger you are, the newer you are, you need to speak more because people
Okay.
don't know you, you don't have credentials. So there, the 20-minute rule will not work. But please
Okay.
don't drown people in data and bars and charts. I mean, that's because people start fading. I've seen so many pitches. Google used to have a great rule: 9 slides, 10
Okay.
opening slide, because it was often told that if you can't say something in 10 slides, then you don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have to be really concise in presenting and collecting the data and presenting it, but don't make it so exhaustive that people lose interest halfway.
Okay.
Have you
Got
said that when you become more senior, you present to people, more senior, you go for your Series A, Series B funding, then you can talk less.
Okay. And one other question that I had is, should the founder information be at the beginning? Because I've seen people starting with founders and people ending with founders, especially when the founders are strong in terms of their experience, in terms of their credentials. How do we do that?
Yeah, I think it's a
What
good
do you
idea
suggest?
to start with founder details. I would like to
Oh,
know who you're talking to.
oh, okay. Thank you.
I see another raised hand.
Hello, ma'am. This is
Yes.
Muskan from Dhirim's Art Gallery. I run a art gallery which is online based, and I would like to ask a question regarding the pivot. When do you know that you should use pivot in your business? I mean, you just go and go on, do the same thing, and the result is not coming. And how do you know that you should use pivot?
I mean, the first indicator is your balance sheet, your bottom line.
Okay,
If you're not doing well, you have
okay,
to ask yourself some hard questions as to what you're not doing well. What do you need to do? Do you need to increase your number of channels? Do you need to tweak your product offering? Because I like art and I buy a lot of art fairly
okay,
seriously. I can take an example that suppose you are dealing with only contemporary artists who focus on figuratives. That's it.
okay,
And you see that people are buying less and less figuratives. And then you look at it and say, what are people buying? Are they buying abstracts? Are they buying digital art? What is the trend and where are the monies going? So I would tweak my product offering based on that research. Maybe start keeping digital art, start keeping abstracts, start keeping more contemporary painters, things like that. So first look at your balance sheet, look at market trends, and look at how you're doing, and then pivot.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, you need to switch off put your hand down, basically. Whoever, the lady who was speaking to me, your hand is still raised. Anyone else?
I have one more question, ma'am.
Yes.
My startup is very new, just a few months old, and my balance sheet is not something that I can boast about because I'm still starting. I'm still getting into multiple channels. Is this correct to go to some place like Durgapreneur at this stage? Or so there are, that was the question that was there in my mind. Shall I go and pitch, or shall I wait till my balance sheet improves and then go? What
Depending,
is your
depending on how much money you need and when.
Mhm.
If you want to raise money
Mm.
because you want to expand, say in a 12 to 18 month frame, then you should go to market now and give your present and say that this is my roadmap, this is what my business would look in 12 to 18 months, and this is what I would like to do, and for which you raise money. This is the most acceptable. Depends.
Okay.
If you think that you can bootstrap it yourself, you know what bootstrap means, right? Building
Yes.
your own funds. So if
Mm.
you think that you can bootstrap it for 1 more year and then
Mm.
ask for funding, then do that. It all depends
Oh.
on your need.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
This is a quiet group. And what about the men? Usually it's the women who don't ask questions. If there are men in the group, I would like to hear from them. Please go ahead. Generally, I would say that when you are starting out, when you are newer entrepreneurs, you really should spend time on getting your story right. As to
Mhm.
what are you trying to say? It comes from what you're trying to do. I'm assuming that you have identified a gap or a space in the market which you can fill with your product or your service. So I'm assuming you've already done that. So once you have identified your market segment, your target audience, your product mix, and then you need to refine the story. So you need to first create the story, then refine the story. So I would really, Amisha, can you look at the chat box? I can't look at the chat box. Somebody's writing something.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So then I would really focus a lot of energy on the story that I'm trying to tell. That this is who I am. This is what I present. This is what I'm working at or working with. This is where I want to be. So this is the journey I wish to undertake, and for which I need resources or monetary resources as well as other resources. So it's very important to tell the story well, with the right approach, right information, right, say, data, market comparisons, audience profile, and present it well. Present it with a lot of conviction and authority, information, and so that people find you genuine and authentic.
Okay, ma'am.
Telling confidently is very, very important. Sorry, I'm going to wear my glasses.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ajay, you asked me the question, right? Right. Right, Joita. Yeah. We answered your question, I think.
Hi, this is Rama. I really do not have a question. I thought I just introduce. I'm Rama from FT.U. We are building an e-commerce platform for customized clothing. So I started entrepreneur journey last year, 2022. So we released our app on App Store and Play Store, and we started operations. We are a year-old company. So this is about us.
Yes. How have you done in this last 1 year?
This 1 year, see, half of the year is for me, it is a piece of cake because it is product development, which is my profession. So after that, marketing, operations, yes, we are learning, doing repeatedly. We are doing a lot of pivots, I can say. One of them is like initially we thought we onboard cloth from boutiques, the vendors whom we are onboarding, and we did that on our first release. But we were not able to really satisfy our customers with that the quality of the cloth around. So we started procuring, and we learned a lot in that space, and we solved it, and we recruited a couple of resources on that. So we are moving forward. It is taking time. Patience is also very important. That is what I learned. So, so it is exciting.
Of course, it's exciting. So you do customized clothing.
Correct.
Okay.
FT.U is the app.
What do you mean by customized clothing?
Like we onboard boutiques, tailors.
Okay.
So we also have cloth. So somebody can come and choose cloths, design their outfit and order.
Acha, like that. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So what we are doing is we are not running our own workshop. We are collaborating with the vendors, existing vendors who are good at like ethnic wear, Western wear. So we do all kind of clothing.
So basically, it's a tailoring house in the air.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we pitched on OTT like AHA.
Oh.
There was a program, Telugu program called Nenu Superwoman. So we pitched on that platform for marketing purpose. So the journey is good. I'm learning a lot.
That's really good to know. And maybe I'll check you out.
See, in corporate, right? It was just like I was given a target and reach. Now sky is my target, right? So I need to set my target. I need to build my own team, and I need to budget, right? Everything. So apart from that, clothing, like there is a lot of scope for us to really bring in technology into clothing. So that is really exciting.
That's very good to know. Thank you. Yeah. And I have a comment from Ananya. Thank you very much if you find this useful. I speak about things which I know.
That's
I
very
don't-
helpful. That's
Yes.
very helpful. Thank you so much for all your inputs.
Yes, because if I start, I am not a fan of faffing at all. It just wastes everybody's time.
That shows. That really shows. Thank you so much. That was very helpful. I think it was so crisp, so to the point, so practical, so much to take back and reflect on. I really loved all your inputs. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Is anybody else wants to tell his or her story or ask a question? Please, I see somebody.
I have no question, but same I would like to share about my story, and I think I'll be needing help in constructing that also, the crisp and the small one. Like my name is Kavita Bhanuka. My business is also just 1.5 year old. It all started with gifting plants. I was into gifting plants to people, and they liked my artistic work. So I started getting orders. So I turned into my profession, and now I am into um, plant. It's like you can give plants according to your budget. It can be customized here according to the budget and based on the occasion also. So this is the thing.
Misha, what we can do also is to maybe gather ideas from people and circulate in a group so that people know about each other's businesses and maybe can help them.
Yeah, definitely. I'll share in the group.
Yeah, I can. So there's an interesting question about spices and pickles and milkshake protein shake powders in keeping view of underprivileged children. It's a very good story actually. It's going to be easy to tell the story. But what if I were you? And please let us know your name, please. Who asked me the question?
I am Jyotsna.
Okay, hi, Jyotsna. So essentially, I mean, if I were you, I would start with how did I hit upon this idea? I mean, did you look at underprivileged children? Did you find a nutritional gap? And how did you start building the product or your service to address this gap? And then, who did you tie up with to reach them, to reach your target customer? That could make a pretty fascinating story. I would focus on that. That how did you
Okay.
find the gap? How did you find the gap? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, you were saying something.
No, actually, I have pitched this one to the MSME Idea Hackathon 3.0.
Okay.
So they are saying to ask for the NGO help.
Yeah, there are a couple of large NGOs like Akshay Patra, like, you want to be a provider to them, right?
Yes.
So I would ask you to make a list of large NGOs like Pratham, like Akshay Patra is a total fit for you because they do meals for underprivileged children. So and see whether you can be a supplier to them. At least find, do research and NGOs and reach out to them. Somebody from Bangalore was just paying me that they want to start something like this. So not spices, but some like meals. So
milkshake powder. Oh.
Thanks very much. Again, I have a compliment from Joita, so that's nice of you. Thank you. And see, the thing is, the whole idea, Kavita, is of this session is to help you build the story. If Amisha and Madhura agree, I can do a separate session on just storytelling because I did not know the maturity, the level of this group as to where you would want to focus your energy. So that's why this presentation is pretty generic. But the story building or the story creation by itself is extremely important for an entrepreneur. How to tell your story in an authentic voice. So, and how do you tell it? How do you build the narrative? And how you deliver the narrative? So, Amisha, if there's there's a gap or there's some time, maybe we can do a separate session of that.
Yeah, I'll have a word with Madhura and Rika.
Yeah. So, but for that, you need to be really, really specific about what you want. And also, it needs to be a lot more participatory.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, we won't really find out what people need, and otherwise, it'll end up being another generic session. So, what things I look at when I buy art? First of all, I have to like it. I have to like that being, on my wall. And the second thing is that because I've been buying for a long time, now I buy fairly big names. But because also from an investment outlook, though I haven't sold anything, I think that's the most important legacy I'm going to leave my son. But I like old masters, and I like I wouldn't say traditional, but not very contemporary people. I don't do that much research. So it has to be something likable, something I identify with, something which fits my budget and looks good on my wall. That may seem like a facetious answer, but it's true. So I think we are nearly the end of our time. So any last question, or should I just do a recap? It's always very good to hear other people's stories. So if anybody wants to speak.
Ma'am, if there is a storytelling session, I would like to join too. My name is Vidata.
Yeah, Amisha and Madhura are the custodians of this. If you, we need like a fair amount of people. If it doesn't really make sense to do it less than 15, 20 people at least. And so if you want to give your names to Amisha, is that how it works?
Yeah, I'll give them a number. They can contact me or Madhura, anyone. So we'll conduct a session accordingly.
Yeah, so just give your names and saying that, you would like to do this. I would be happy to do it because I teach this and I can tell you a thing or two about storytelling. And it's very important because see, as women also, as people and as women, we need to develop a voice. We have to have a voice, and very important, tell our story with the right voice, the right inputs, right information, so that it sounds real and authentic, not just impressive. Because if you construct something which sounds impressive but doesn't really have a good foundation, it won't serve your purpose. A canny investor can ask you 3 questions and find out the hollowness of the argument. So being authentic is very, very important. So, but there are a couple of things that we discuss in that class. It's a fun thing also. It's my first class for the MBA aspirants, how to tell a story. So it could be fun, but you talk to these two ladies, Amisha and Rika, and I'll also tell Madhura, and we can maybe do another session, maybe another like a month or so. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So again, I see a raised hand. Nazia, should be the last one.
I already spoke. We had the first round with me. I was just giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah, you did speak. Right. Anyone else? Otherwise, I think I'll do a very quick recap. So what we spoke about today as a female entrepreneur largely, or even others, even the men here, build your story. Build your story, build a story which is real and authentic, and tell it well with conviction and confidence and positive body language. 1, find the right platform. If you're very ambitious, yes, you can look at things like NASCOM, but there are groups like Aspire for Her, many other groups like this, where you can share your story. Otherwise, start writing down your story is a great exercise. Do a blog post if you're confident. Do a video if you're even more confident. Do an YouTube video. Start a channel. Doing a LinkedIn post has the least amount of effort, except writing well. So owned media is something that you can really look at when you need a platform. Find the right peer group, very important. People who you can learn from and you can share, not people only who will say, wow, 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 what a lovely thing, fantastic thing you have done. That's useless. Don't do it. Investors are not your family. They're investors. So, so you have to find the right peer group who gives you the correct advice. Find mentors, extremely important, who will guide, give you time and guidance, and will listen, will have patience, can have the ability to pick you up if need be. I think this is the most important part of an entrepreneurial journey. And you have to be agile to spot gaps in your product and service and find market segments and respond to that. And the last thing, which is my favorite, resilience. Resilience, resilience, resilience. You need that to reimagine, refashion, repurpose, reinvent, re-all. Without resilience, nobody gets anywhere. And have a life, guys. very important that you have a life apart from your work. That's for everyone. Okay. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you for such a session. And it was a very great session for all of us.
I'm so glad too that you say that. So, Amisha, thank you very much for
Yeah,
all you
thank
did. And please tell Rika and Madhura that we had a good bunch of people and we had a good session. They had good things to say.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give a vote.
Okay. Thanks very much, guys. I have to go.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.